Let me show you what I had here that I chased my ass on pulling this car apart, because when you had to hold the button long just to get the illumination, foot on the brake, push the button, it would black out. Now if you wait a handful of seconds, you see the check engine light should have come on, but it's going to come back on. I tested the gear shifter. The bushings are messed up in that shifter, but I disconnected it, made sure I had the transmission in neutral and park, everything recognized correctly before I move forward. Now this should come back on. But let me show you what I came through, and I'll finish this video off with the wiring diagrams and how I got to where I did. So there you go, it's on. So everybody says check power and grounds first. Well, I got this all opened up as we start raining. I'm gonna try this out. There's what I found. The fuse was in the wrong location. Now here I am at another location that does repairs out of their home. So what I did is I disconnected the transmission control module, and I was looking at basically what I was doing is I was chasing the brake control circuit. And that I had no voltage on pin 9, which goes on one side of that assembly to each solenoid, and then it comes back, but there was no voltage. So I looked at pin 8, no voltage. So I consult this sucker here, and if I can get a good image of it, here we go. So spare TCM IP 15 amp spare was, this is where the spare should have been. So somebody had been here before me. So if I can get this thing to cooperate. So I pulled it and I put it in its correct location. Shake this out. Came back to the vehicle. And that door is locking. Anyway, came back to the vehicle. Now notice this. Check engine light stays on, but I could hear a starter click. Car's got a bad starter. Simple as that. The starter is bad. So what I noticed is I had worked through all of my brake signal, park neutral signals, all of that stuff. And I said, well, let me see if I can jump the starter. So I jumped the relay. I had power at terminal 30. So if you have power at terminal 30, your run crank relay is correct. It supplies that voltage. So I jumped it. All I got was the click that I just got with the fuse in the correct location. So my point is that you're always checking your powers and grounds, you're checking fuses, but nobody ever says check to make sure that your fuses are in the correct locations. And that's what I ran into here. So I'll try to walk you through this here, the diagram of what I did to get to where I did get to. Because I had shift to park, also it acted as if the brake pedal wasn't being applied with the key shutting off. So I started with the exterior light system, and notice the tie-in brake switch signal and how it goes down. So that's the ECM, there's the TCM. You're looking for a voltage signal. It's going to be source voltage, battery voltage, running voltage, but anyway, source voltage there. I had that at both of those modules. And so again, that's coming from the lights. So next, we wanted to make sure that we were actually in park. And so I disconnected the linkage and separated the shifter from the transmission and made sure that they were both in the park position. And then as you see, this signal here, that's going to be your park neutral. As you can see it there, P and N. And that one goes directly to the ECM right there. And so you're looking for a ground signal. I had my ground signal there. Now, two more here. There's going to be a park, that's park switch, and this is also going to be a park and a neutral. You see where it ties into the ground there. And both of those go to the TCM, pins 36 and 37. I had ground. Now these other two signals here, notice where they make contact. If this one is in drive, you got ground. Otherwise, it's going to be an open signal and an open signal in park, but you'll have ground in drive. These two signals also go back to the TCM to let you know that's B and C, where it's at. So I had all that confirmed. And so what I started to do is I was going to pick one module off. And so working through the diagram, what I was looking for was there was this value here, the torque converter clutch, this signal here. For whatever reason, when I looked at it in the actual values, because I had voltage here with the brake pedal applied, but there was another value in there. Again, you see the torque converter clutch, pulse width, solenoid control. So I was just trying to eliminate these two. So there's your ground side. The TCM is grounding that, but it's working off of that brake switch. So when I went there, I should have had voltage. As you see, this voltage in comes from the TCM. And it's going to come in ignition 9. So I looked at pins 8 and 9. There were no voltage. No voltage was there. So that voltage comes in from the TCM. It's a 15 amp fuse. So if I follow it down, there's my ignition voltage. So, and then 8 goes out down to that solenoid pack. So that's where I found I had no voltage. Consulted the cover on that fuse box to find somebody had played with that and had misplaced it, reinstalled it in the wrong location. Once I did that, I was able to see that all I had was a solenoid click. And so when you look at the starter relay, your power is going to come in off of the run crank relay. So if you have power on the terminal 30 side of that relay, your run crank relay is good. You can eliminate a bunch of other things, but your ground, the ground is going to come off of the ECM, but you have to have everything else in place. So once we resolved the fuse location here, then we could see that the original issue was the starter. So somebody went in there pulling fuses, checking other things, and they put it in the wrong place. So this gentleman paid me for my diagnosis because he let somebody else go in there before me and move stuff around, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles on ones like this. You know, again, you check your powers and grounds, you do your due diligence, but who would have thought that somebody would have been dumb enough to put it in the wrong location, not to take a picture first before you start pulling fuses? And, you know, it took me a little bit of time to circle back to find that, but that's on them. So I hope all this information helps you out. There's a lot of good information out there for you. If you can decipher through all the minutia, you'll get these cars figured out.